Welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to A Cup of Joe and a Show, a Lug Nuts podcast production. I'm joined by Kenny, Aiden.
Hi.
All right, so we're gonna get rid of all the weird ASMR going on. I'm Nick. We have a special guest today who actually probably has more podcasting experience than any of us. To be completely honest, the one and only Jim Master.
Hi.
How's
it going?
We're now on Rick and Morty.
Morty, we gotta go to fix the time stream.
Ironically,
Actually, get me some pictures of Spider-Man.
Ironically, for a show called A Cup of Joe, we're missing our one host.
We are missing Joe today, which is sad. The premise of the show, I'll just let everyone know this right off the bat. We all have a cup of coffee in front of us. One of us today is actually trying coffee for the first time.
Well, not the first time.
Trying my coffee for the first time.
Trying your coffee.
Okay, yeah.
I'm probably not going to like it.
That's hurtful. Anyways.
Maybe not with that attitude. Come on.
And, yeah, we're going to talk about movies and TV shows we've been watching recently. And it's just going to be a little fun thing, 15 minutes. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Check out our other podcasts on Spotify, What Does the Bible Say? And, actually, sorry, it's What the Bible Says. And I asked what I wanted to know. Anyways, we are getting right into this. Jim, what's your hot take on movies? By the way, just so everyone knows, Jim watches more movies than all of us combined.
I almost have 50 movies released from 2022 alone under my belt this year. That's a lot of movies. Well, like, first, Kenny took a sip of that coffee. What do you think, Kenny?
You kind of like it, don't you?
No.
Do you like the sweet coffee, or do you more like the bitter coffee?
A good introduction to get
I hate bitter tastes.
We all have kind of different movie tastes. So what's everyone's favorite film?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero, 1968.
Wow, he knew all the details.
My favorite film of all time. The reason why, because has anybody ever seen a zombie film, George Romero's zombie, like Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead?
I don't watch a lot of horror or anything like that.
So, like, Romero, he used to do, like, these messages for his movies. Like, in Day of the Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, it was consumerism. People got trapped in a mall when malls were, like, the popular thing these days. It got trapped in a mall, and so it was all about consumerism. You know, like the hungry zombies wanted inside the mall. You know, it's supposed to be kind of like that. But Day of the Dead, or Night of the Living Dead, there's trilogies, there's like 6 Romero films. This is what happens when I start drinking coffee. Anyway, Night of the Living Dead, it was supposed to be a message about Vietnam at the time, but it turned into a race kind of a thing about race, because you had a cast of white people and then one black guy, and the black guy is the one that's in the lead and telling everybody what to do, and like telling so this it all starts with this one lady, I can't remember her name. Anyway, she there's this she's in the cemetery, and the zombie apocalypse happens, as you know, as it happens. And she gets chased to this farmhouse, and then she meets this one guy who's Ben, who's the black guy. And there's these people in the basement that come up and basically trying to assert dominance right over the house, because they were the first ones there. And then they're like, they get into kind of a fight, and Ben says, you know, you can have the downstairs, this is upstairs. If you're up here, you're doing what I say, right? And so, like, and this is 68. Like, if it was made today, nobody would bat an eye, right? But this is 68, where it's like, you know, that kind of, like, message, that kind of thing is, like, you know, pretty hot button issue back then. Not saying that it isn't anymore, but so that's why I like it, because it was an accidental thing. They did it that way because Ben, the guy who played Ben, was the best actor among their group.
Huh.
So that's why he was cast in that role.
So it wasn't even meant to be about
It wasn't even meant. If you watch George Romero's interviews, he's like, yeah, you know, we didn't think of it that way. We just thought of it that he's the best of the actors. He's the one that has the actual theatrical experiences and, you know, classical training. So we're going to put him as the main lead for the guy. And so that's how it worked.
So the movie that somehow gets some sort of like race meaning, whatever, behind it, was brought about by some guy who wasn't at all a racist and was just like, I don't care what color he is, he's the best actor.
Exactly, yeah, exactly, which kind of amplifies the message a little bit more. So that's why I like that and basically that just spawned my love for zombie culture, so that's my favorite film.
Okay.
What about you, Nick?
All right, so
Yeah, you gotta follow that.
I know. Okay, we're gonna take a step back. So I used to always say my favorite movie is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Came out in 2015. It's based off the TV series. I don't know if any of you have ever watched
with Armie Hammer?
Yeah, it's got Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill, Superman.
Never seen that film.
And it's got Alicia Vikander, who plays Laura Croft.
Oh, yeah.
And star-studded lineup. I love the way they do the movie. Is so just interesting and so unique. A lot of flashbacks, and it's really actually confusing if you're not paying attention to it a lot. And I watched it with my girlfriend in New York. Hi, Michaela. And I watched it with her, and we watched it, and it was just like, meh. Like, it didn't, like, for me, I think there's a bit of nostalgia for it, because I used to watch it with my grandparents. And it's just a very nostalgic film for me. So I think that movie has a special place in my heart. What my favorite movie is, I honestly don't know. I can tell you a movie I really enjoyed this year, and I think everyone in this room knows it. I really enjoyed The Batman.
Oh, that was a good one.
Because, one, I appreciated their take on the Riddler. I appreciated how Robert Pattinson portrayed Bruce Wayne, Batman. I liked their take on Alfred. I liked all of the casting. I know a lot of people have complaints about Commissioner, or no, I guess it's not Commissioner. I guess it's Detective Gordon in this film.
I liked him.
I know, and I really enjoyed his acting. I thought he had a unique take on it. I also like him as an actor anyways, but that's a separate story. I thoroughly enjoyed that film. Like, that's, like, of my 2022 movies, that is very high up there in terms of my favorite. A close second would probably be Top Gun Maverick.
I still haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard so much good stuff.
It's so, like, it's just such a good sequel, and it doesn't try and shove any, like, counterculture or political statements.
The neat thing too is because the original is kind of more funny, if anything. But I heard that it's really cool that they did like actual jets and all that. Like, especially when we are everything's so much CGI and green screen now, that they insisted that they wanted actual jets is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Didn't,
Tom
like,
Cruise.
North Korea or China try and like do spying on the film or something?
They actually realigned their satellites because in the beginning of the film, I won't spoil anything crazy, but there's a special aircraft they make, right. And it's just a fake aircraft that they built around another one. But it was so real when they were flying it that it convinced China that it was actually a real, like, new aircraft we designed it. So they like realigned satellites to spy on the area where it was deployed. But yeah, no, I think the Batman with Robert Pattinson is probably my favorite movie of 2022. My favorite movie of all time is up for grabs. Like I said, I watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and it was kind of meh. So, but enjoyed the Zodiac Killer take on the Riddler. I really appreciated that, and I'm looking forward to the rest of Matt Reeves' Batman universe that he's doing.
I hope they continue with it.
There's already a Penguin series being developed with the guy,
Colin
what's
Farrell.
his name, Colin Farrell, and he's already seen the script and he loves it, so that's awesome.
Colin Farrell. I didn't recognize the name at first when it was the Batman. I started looking up and see that guy is really, really good.
He's got a lot of different stuff. There's one that's Fright Night. You ever see Fright Night? It's the reboot from the movie, and he plays the bad guy. He's Jerry the vampire. It's great.
What a name.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I said, love that, and like I said, I love Matt Reeves' just style. I loved the coolest part of that movie is it's raining everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. And one thing, it's a cool foreshadow for the flood. Two, it's just, I love that cinematography. And I thought the movie was just gorgeous too, in terms of their cinematography and lighting and just how they did all that. So that was really cool.
You have to be a fan of slower paced movies a little bit though sometimes.
You do.
Which isn't bad. It gives it a lot more time to flesh a lot of stuff out. But
yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
we went and
it's a
saw it.
beast.
We went and saw
It's
it.
a
Jim
beast
and I
of a
did.
film.
2 times actually. We went and saw it together, I think.
Did
And
see
we
it two
saw it
times?
together once.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I saw it with you first, and I saw it with Aiden
Okay.
and his fiance. But yeah, I saw it with you, Joe, and my brother. That's who it was.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and we saw it, and it was 3 hours. My brother loved it. I loved. I think everyone walked out of the film satisfied with what happened. But so that was really good. But fun fact: Tom Cruise is going to be the first man to do a spacewalk as an action stunt.
Really?
Yeah, off the International Space Station.
I can see that.
I will say what is another crazy thing is that at the it's not spoiling anything. At the end of the film, there's a P-51 Mustang that is actually owned by Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
The guy is an actual pilot and loves to fly, and I thought that was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, that dude is crazy cool. I would love to meet Tom Cruise.
How many times have you listened to Something in the Way since watching the Batman?
I'm going to be honest. I never knew what that song was until Joe told me. Like, we watched it that following week. He told me what it was, and I listened to it. And it's in my playlist. Like, I actually have it in my Spotify playlist that I listen to regularly. And I love the song. Like, it brings back a lot of, like, the memories of the movie the first time I saw it, too. And also, I just like the lyrics and the concept of it. So, it's good. But, yeah. What about you, Kenny? What's your favorite movie of all time? If you say Rudy, I'm going to lose a lot of respect for you.
That's a good film.
I mean, Jim is right. It's a really good
It
film,
is.
but it is.
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Shut up. No, honestly, it kind of depends on like what kind of like genre of movie I'm in.
Sure.
Like if I'm in a sports movie, my favorite sports movie of all time is Glory Road, and that is
That.
it is based on a true story that happened. It was okay. That was good. Okay, Jim and Nick took a drink of coffee at the same time in sync.
Yeah.
It was great. But I think it was like in the 70s. Texas Western, now called University of Texas El Paso, hired a guy named Don Haskins, who was a girls' high school basketball coach. And he went down and was told that he was basically going to be living in the men's dorm watching the college basketball kids on his team. When he saw the athletes, he was like, these guys suck. I need better athletes. And he couldn't get the top white talent to come down because Texas Western was terrible. So his only option was to recruit the black players. But Texas Western, at the time, there was pushback because, well, they're black.
Sure.
But his first year as coach at Texas Western, he had 5 total black players. They went undefeated. They went undefeated up until one game, and they lost. And that was out in Seattle. They went back, got into the NCAA tournament, went up all the way to the national championship game. In the national championship game, Don Haskins was the first coach to start 5 black players. All 5. He had 7 total black players. None of the white players in the championship game saw any court time. He played all the black players. And he played Kentucky, who was and is still a powerhouse in college basketball. So basically, it's just it's a great film. And so that's my favorite sports movie. Now, war movie, that's...
I'm going to guess it. Let me guess it.
What?
Hacksaw Ridge.
No.
Oh.
Is
So
it
Hacksaw Ridge
Saving
is
Private Ryan?
Close.
Okay.
What did you say?
That'd be,
Saving Private Ryan.
that'd be number 3 on my list. I think number 1,
Fury?
even though it's fake, Fury.
What's that one about?
It's one with
Fury's
Brad
pretty
Pitt.
Slick.
Brad Pitt, where he plays the tank commander.
And
Yeah.
the thing too is that I can.
I was thinking of a
it's-
different World War II film
I-
with
I'm a
Brad Pitt.
major-
I can't say it on here.
I'm a major World War II history nut, and that actually portrays tank combat quite accurate, which
Yeah.
is shocking because they usually get it very, very awful.
Right. Right. So, I mean, that would be my favorite war movie. Now, favorite scary movie, It 1, It 2.
Oh,
Or It Chapter 2.
those are great films.
Oh, my gosh. Bill Skarsgård.
You know, he does the eye thing.
It's natural.
It's natural.
And he does the smile, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that was
an
him.
interview where somebody asked him how he did that, and he just did it and freaked everyone out.
Well, yeah, he was on Conan one night too, and he was like, "Yeah, it's because my older brother would scare me like that and do the smile and have like a hood over his head and just run around and scare him, and so that's how he learned how to do the
whole
pinched out smile, and he had a lazy eye and he can make it go one way and."
That whole Skarsgård family is talented. The father who's in
Holy
Thor
crap.
and Avengers.
Yes.
The guy, the professor that runs around naked in Thor 2.
Oh, that's him.
That's his father, yeah. Like,
That's great.
He's
crazy
interesting.
family.
I like that guy as an actor.
Yeah.
I'm not into horror. Jim, as of the recording of this, is doing like a horror movie a day.
31 Days of Horror.
Yeah, 31 Days of Horror. And when I asked him, I was dog sitting last week, and I asked 2 weeks ago actually, and I asked him to come over and watch one. That way I can be a part of it and I could watch a horror movie. But I told him no gore. I don't do gore. Like if there's gonna be like body parts thrown all over and just creepy, nasty stuff, I'm against it.
I couldn't show Rudy. So
Yeah, he couldn't show Rudy. Yeah.
Wow.
See, I'm weird because I can't do like horror film gore.
That was a good one.
I remember when It came out and he's like, "We should go watch It," and I'm like, "I have zero interest in watching. I've still never seen it. I don't have any desire to." But I don't do horror film gore. I can do comedic gore for some reason, like.
because it's with a laugh.
The Monty Python
something
stuff.
about Deadpool is just hilarious to
Oh
me,
my
even though it's pretty
Sure.
brutal. It's just, I don't know. It gets played for laughs in such a way I can appreciate
Right, because
it.
you're laughing along with it. If you're screaming along with it, it's a different type of thing.
That's true.
Which it's that I also love that film is like the benchmark for fourth wall breaks. It's great.
It's She-Hulk. What do you mean?
No,
No, She-Hulk's
We're
the
not talking
TV
about-
show of
That's
Football
true.
Break.
That's true. But yeah, no, we watched The Escape Room. I can do like thrillers because I would say probably my favorite horror thriller movie. It's probably The Shining. That's we could do a whole episode on The Shining. That film's crazy.
Next week, Halloween.
There you go. Oh, that's true. Interesting. Anyways, Aiden, you've yet to answer your favorite movie.
Ooh. Well, these two gave a little bit, so I will say it's very close for me on the original Iron Man movie is really good. That one's up there. Is back when Marvel's glory days.
It really sets the tone for the rest of the MCU.
It's done so perfect, and I always appreciate when it comes to my comic book movies or whatever.
Yeah.
I appreciate the more like obviously it's still a guy in a flying metal suit,
Right.
but in a way it's still more grounded, if you will. and then you get to the point where like
Rampage
nowadays
is
it's
flying,
giant, space battles and aliens and stuff, and I find it hard to keep up with. But probably these two know exactly what I'm going to say.
Cinderella.
I was gonna say Beauty and the
Serious?
Beast with Emma Watson.
Guessed it perfectly.
It's tales all the time.
Oh, I also really appreciate the second Christopher Nolan Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. I
Dark
think
Knight,
it is
right?
the Dark Knight.
Not Rises. Is
No,
it
it's
just-
Dark Knight.
It is
Dark Knight Rises is the third.
That is still probably like
So
as
what's
much
the
as he says he likes the new Batman. I will fully admit Christian Bale's Batman voice is awful, but the rest of that movie is amazing, and I love it.
Tell me where the lozenges are. I need a lozenge.
So wait a minute. I've never seen that trilogy. I mean, I know
Are
a lot
you
of.
kidding me?
I know a lot about the trilogy. And
Even
I've
I've seen that.
I've seen a lot of clips of it, so I can put the movies and the plot lines together.
Right.
I've never seen them in
The
full.
first movie is good.
What's the first
second
movie called?
Is incredible.
Dark Knight Rises.
No, the first one is just
Batman
Batman Begins.
Batman
yeah.
Begins,
and then they
and
go on
it's-
a Dark Knight tangent. Like, it's
Yeah, it's
Batman
the-
Begins, Dark Knight, and then the Dark Knight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rises.
it's the Dark Knight and then the Dark Knight
it
Rises.
Kind of
Right.
is. The first
should be the
movie
Dark
is
Knight
very
Begins.
good. It's got Liam Neeson as Ra's
why they
al
went-
Ghul,
Right, yeah.
and I love that film. The second movie is
the
a
best.
benchmark for what any superhero movie should be. And then the third movie it wasn't bad, but it didn't hold up to the standard of the last two.
break your water.
Yes. I think Tom Hardy did fine with what he had. It just could have been better.
I would make it through COVID with this mask.
How dare you insult
But
would you like fries with that?
both of those are in my favorite, like at the very top. But my favorite movie of all time is The Hunt for October.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
I knew you were going to
One,
say
it's
that.
the only Alec Baldwin film where I appreciate. Like he really did do a great job, and Sean Connery. I love Sean Connery, even though
Sam Neill's in it.
it's yeah.
Rip
Yeah,
Sean
it's
Connery.
it's a very great cast. It's also got the original It actor. What's his name?
Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry.
Tim
Yeah.
Curry's in it, and Sean Connery's attempt at a Russian accent. I love it.
This is
my
Sean Connery Russian accent.
Yes. But as somebody,
Where's
like I
that
said
Red
earlier, as a
October?
World
We
War
must
II
hunt
history
for it.
nerd, and I'm also really into Cold War history,
What?
that is actually an amazingly accurate portrayal of submarine combat. And I do appreciate like a slower kind of movie, intense and stuff like that. So it's not for everyone, but I love it.
You know, that's one of those films where, you know, you have such an iconic actor as Sean Connery. You kind of bypass the fact that he can't do a Russian accent, and neither can
can't
Sam
do it.
Neill.
He can't do a Russian. Neither of them can, but outside the accent, they did everything else great.
Right,
It
that's
was
why you're
amazing.
like, you're not casting Sean Connery as a Russian. You're just casting Sean Connery. That's like, there's
Yeah.
those actors that like, there's Sean Connery, Christopher Walken, Nick Cage. You're not
It's
really
also-
casting them to be people. You're casting them to be themselves.
It's an incredible also that they got all the shots they did of the submarines in combat, given the fact that they obviously did not have access to a Russian submarine. And while I
Yeah.
did have all the outside shots of American subs are actual submarines, the interiors of it were made on set roughly based off what... Because the military obviously helped them a bit, I think, but they didn't outright let them copy the inside of one of their submarines. So
They could have just went to the Field Museum and like took a tour through that one sub that's, you know, you can just walk through.
yeah,
Maybe they did.
You know, I never watched submarine movies.
Don't say it.
Yeah, they're beneath me.
Don't say
oh
it.
you punk.
Would you stop drowning us in your puns?
No!
But I appreciate too.
I'll
is,
take you
like,
down to the watery grave.
I appreciate kind of a slow burn movie sometimes. Well,
Except for the Batman, apparently.
I didn't say I didn't like the Batman.
You're like.
I do think Christian Bale did a better Bruce Wayne.
we didn't get to see a lot of Bruce Wayne, so I can't argue that point.
I think he
well,
was full Batman than he was Bruce Wayne. I think the next film you'll see more Bruce Wayne.
I agree because next is supposedly the Court of Owls, and if
Oh.
that's the case,
I'll
there's a
give a
lot
hoot
more
about
Bruce
that.
Wayne. I'm sorry.
I'll give a hoot about that.
Oh,
gosh.
Is
Also-
the villain Hootie from
also
Hootie and the
really up there
Blowfish?
would be
so great.
for me would be Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash.
Oh, I did-
That
yeah,
one
that
is
was a good
really
one,
good.
too.
Ooh, Joaquin Phoenix.
There's a few of them that's really hard to pick from. Like for me, it is Hunt for October. It's the one I've seen like 12 times, but there's a lot of them up there that are like really good that I can sit there and rewatch. I know the whole movie and I'm still entertained.
So, I wanted to ask you, Jim.
Yes.
You said something about you don't cast Sean Connery for a Russian accent. You should cast Sean Connery.
You
It's
cast
just
Sean
like
Connery
okay,
for Sean Connery.
like two things. One, what if they did cast Sean Connery for a Russian?
No.
And-
You can't tell me like Sean, we want you to come in here and do just like a test acting scene. We're going for a Russian we're going for a Russian accent cuz he's a Russian, submarine captain. So let's see what you got. Oh yes, I'm going to drink my vodka as I read Dostoevsky. Oh, you got the part. No, there's no way.
But they knew he could play the serious acting too, because even nowadays,
His
most
acting is
people think-
impeccable.
Yeah, most people
nothing with
sit there
his
and
acting.
think, when you think James Bond, there's still a lot of
Right.
people who go, "Oh,
Oh,
that's Sean
Money
Connery."
Penny. Yeah.
See, for me, that's not. It's not, James Bond is not Sean Connery. James Bond is Pierce Brosnan.
See, I like Pierce
Yeah.
Brosnan, but I also like Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig's okay. Casino Royale was fabulous.
Oh, definitely.
After
As they
Casino
get
Royale,
further,
yeah,
You
like
know,
meh.
right now with the James
GoldenEye
Bond,
was the best Brosnan film.
right now with the
absolutely.
James Bond, everybody's
Bond era.
making memes like, "Oh, you're upset about Black Little Mermaid. Just wait to see, and it's Idris Elba as the next Bond. I'm actually really excited if he is the next James Bond.
You know
he
what
would
though?
do great.
I saw a critique. I love Idris Elba, and I don't think he needs it. Like his career where he's at right now does not need that bump in stardom. And why would you take that much criticism? Because whoever's going to be the next Bond is going to receive a large amount of harsh criticism.
Daniel Craig's shaved legs.
Even if the actor is impeccable, right? Like.
It
doesn't matter. Like, why would you put yourself through that?
So
here's
who would
the
you
thing.
think would make a Bond?
He might need to do that
Gymnastic.
based off. he might
My
need to
name's
do that
Bond.
film. He might need to do that film because of Beast.
He was in Beast, and then he was in another weird one.
He's kind of gone off the beaten path. Like, he might need to take a James Bond film to end his career
Maybe.
off.
I don't know.
Heimdall
He is
was
Black
really good,
Superman, though. So
He is great as Heimdall. I agree. He's fabulous in the MCU.
Yeah. I think he did. He's done a couple flops over the last couple of years. The Gunslinger, the Dark Tower movie.
Yeah.
Even
Wasn't
though
that based off
I
of
love
actually a
that
good
film.
book series?
Stephen King. It's based off of 7 books, and it's not really based. It's like the sequel. I can't really spoil it if you've never read the books, but it's.
I just know the books because of some comment about some weird, like, sentient train that somebody made a meme
Charlie
out of.
the Choo Choo. I love that
I
series.
saw a
It's my
meme somewhere
favorite book
that and
series.
looked it up, and it's like literally a psychopath sentient train.
Only in that book series can you see a bunch of lightsaber wielding robots throwing snitches that are bombs. Like, it's the greatest book series of ever.
Do you guys know they're making a Charlie the Choo Choo Train, like, horror
Video
game?
game?
Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
It looks
Yeah.
pretty. Like, I hate horror games as well because I don't know. I just don't like being scared usually like that. But that game looks actually kind of funny, and you're literally being chased down by a giant spider train.
It's horrifying. I would never play it.
You know, I like watching horror movies. I like reading horror books. I'm not a fan of horror games.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Well, and it's a little more immersive too. Like in a movie, you're like, okay, I'm watching a movie. In a game, you're playing a character that's being
Right.
hunted down.
I
Like,
went to the Nile Scream Park last night, and it's like, okay, hi.
That's what I did when we went. Is literally just walk around and say hi to people. But
This one guy offered to buy my ears. I told him I'd charge him $1 an ear.
your dad jokes are impeccable and also really concerning because you're
I know.
not a
you
dad.
should have told
I'm an
him.
uncle.
You should have told him.
Means I can get away with them.
You should have told him that you're not selling the ears, but you take $1 for an eye.
Oh,
Buckeye.
Buckeye.
Yeah, they're gonna Buccaneer
I
work
don't
too.
read
can only
any
tell
horror
that joke
books,
in Ohio.
and I don't watch movies or play games. But for some reason, I got really into reading up on all the lore for the Five Nights at Freddy's. I've never played a single
Yeah.
game.
They're supposed to be making a movie
Is there?
in talks, yeah.
Isn't there like a?
Nick Cage had a great movie called Willy's Wonderland that was essentially Five Nights at Freddy's.
I saw clips
it
of
was
that.
so hilarious.
I love the fact that he is just
Nick
like
Cage.
basically invincible, just going around
He
murdering
doesn't
them.
speak at all in that film, though. Just
like the
Nick
His
perfect
best
Cage,
role.
a speechless Nick Cage. That's great.
Sorry, no. Ghost Rider was his best role.
Ghost Rider without the CGI. If you watch Ghost Rider without the CGI, that's even better because like Nick Cage is just like. It's if you've ever seen that, like go on YouTube and look up Nick Cage Ghost Rider no CGI. He goes full on.
It's
like,
only
just
it only
crazy.
gets better when you get to Nick Cage CGI Ghost Rider with Sam Elliott on a
Oh,
flaming horse.
yeah.
Or you got Nick Cage playing.
Nick Cage playing Nick Cage. It's like in my top 5 of this year so far. No, this is the
Unbearable weight of massive talent.
yeah, that's the greatest.
It was
one
funny.
Of the greatest.
You ever
films.
seen the like college humor skit though? It's like Nick Cage's agent. It's just like you're playing like the worst person. Like it's all these awful roles, and I'll take it for every single one.
Yeah.
His agent's just you're literally playing a butt flying through space. I'll do it.
I mean, if anybody could pull that off,
That's the magic
It's
of
Nick
Nick
Cage.
Cage. And on that note, I'm out of coffee. I've been out of
I've
coffee
been
for
out
a
of
while.
coffee for a while.
We're severely out of
Hey.
coffee.
It doesn't end.
It's a cup
till
right here.
Kenny's coffee is
Kenny, I will not. I no offense. I just
It's-
don't drink after people.
It's
Not
kind
a
of
me.
like
It's not a you
just
thing.
sat
It's just a
and-
me thing.
It's
That
kind of just
sounds
got
like a you pile kind of a
gelatinous
thing.
now,
That's not
I
my
think.
pile.
It is a little bit because of the mocha I put in.
And like the chocolate bar and the syrup is just now it's like a
Kind of
it's like
formed
a swamp
a
thing.
nice little exact swamp thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Werewolf by Night at some point.
Oh, that's Man Thing.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Wait, what?
No, it's
I
not.
think it's Man Thing.
I
Are
thought
we
it was
talking
Swamp Thing.
I don't
DC?
think it's Swamp. Yeah, DC's
I'm
Swamp
pretty sure
Thing.
that's Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Man Thing's Marvel.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Swamp Thing the whole time.
No, DC is Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay. Anyways,
Swamp
well,
Thing. Dun-dun-dun.
I don't know when we're gonna be back. We're just
DC
recording
has a lot
these.
of plant-related enemies.
Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing. There's one other I'm thinking.
What about a
of.
bog thing?
You're thinking of a Firefly?
No, there's Swamp Thing, and then there's like
Blue
the
Beetle.
giant-
That's a good
No.
guy.
What was his name? Because he's the guy. He was in one of the DC animated movies with Poison Ivy. This one other guy trying to wake up.
There's
Swamp
that
Thing
muck
or
guy. What the Clayface? He's
Clayface.
he's kind of like a muddy kind of a dude.
One sec. I gotta Google it. Talk amongst yourselves for
One.
30 seconds.
So the other day I was walking down the street and this guy said, "Hey, can I have $1?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll give you $1 if you give me $2." And he's like, "Okay, deal." And I gave him like $1 and he gave me $2. And that's when he realized that it was Monopoly money. And he's like,
Oh my
"Hey, I want my
gosh,
money back."
there's
I'm like, "No refunds."
There's a list of DC top 10 plant-based characters.
Oh no! What I just
I
I
never
just
realized
came
there
up
was
with
that
that.
many.
I have no clue.
There's
Did you just have like a list of plant-based enemies on DC as like a bookmark on your phone?
No,
Oh, yeah,
I
he
literally
planned
just
this out.
Googled it.
He did. He's like, "Okay, bucket list for today. I'm gonna go on the podcast and randomly bring up weird
Solomon
tentacle
Grundy is
enemies
not
from
plant-based.
DC."
He kind of is actually.
Who?
Yeah, he's reanimated, right? He was dead and he's brought back to life. Solomon Grundy.
Oh, Born on a Monday.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're saying the Brit. I was like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about, Jim?
Do we have to go? I think we have to go. Kenny's showing the.
It's
Yeah.
3:53.
I gotta
we
get
gotta
outta
get
here.
to. We gotta get to youth group.
You got to get to youth group. We got to get out of here. I don't know when we're gonna be back. We'll be back at some point. Next topic I'm gonna say is who you want to be the next James Bond. Take long and hard
Nick
to think about it.
Cage. Already
Daniel
done.
Radcliffe.
I'll have. Daniel Radcliffe would be great.
We'll have a real.
Abracadabra!
And on that note,
Abracadabra.
on that note,
What about Woody Harrelson?
we'll see you next time. Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the episode today. If you did, you should go check out the rest of our episodes on our website at ccflugnutspodcast.com.
You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Follow us on our Facebook and Instagram pages by searching the Lugnuts Podcast Group.
Thanks for listening, and remember, Jesus loves you, and so do we.